defined it, has told us the type of stimulus, right? While this one is not talking about the type of stimulus, photo is telling us about light. Geotropism is also talking about gravity. Static is talking about the whole organism. So option A, dynastic movement, is the answer. Then the last question we'll be considering under this topic says the two halves of the pelvic girdle are joined together at A, pubic symphysis, B, ilium, C, pubis, D, obturator foramen. The pelvic girdle is made up of three bones. We have the ilium, the ischium, and the pubis. So obturator foramen is the hole that is in between the two halves of the pelvic girdle. So obturator foramen is not the answer. That rules out option D. Then I mentioned that ilium and pubis are part of the bones that make up the pelvic girdle. So they cannot be the points. None of them cannot be the point at which the pelvic girdle is joined together. There has to be a point. If my left hand and my right hand are to be joined, then the point at which they join will neither be the left hand or the right hand. It must be another thing, another point entirely that we call that. So that is leading us to option A. The pubic symphysis is the point at which the two halves of the pelvic girdle is joined together. Option A. Under the broad section of form and function, we'll be looking at reproduction as a topic. So I've extracted some questions under reproduction, questions that have appeared in the JAMB past question for the last 20 years. So we'll be looking at them and the answers to those questions. The first question says, is diagrammatic. It's showing a leaf that has a root-like structure, that has root-like structures on it. Like you have roots or buds coming out of that leaf, a singular leaf. Now the question says the type of vegetable reproduction illustrated in the diagram, in this diagram, is A, grafting, B, adventitious bud, C, sucker, D, aerial layering. This leaf is showing adventitious bud. When you take a part of those parts that looks like roots or bud now, and you take it to another place, it will definitely germinate, even though it's a part of a leaf. But that is the way it is. And an example of a plant that undergoes this type of reproduction is Bryophyllum pinnatum. Bryophyllum. Find it like this on it. So answer is B, adventitious bud. Sucker, an example of plant that does that vegetable reproduction. We have pineapple and our banana does that. So the next question: coconut and oil palm fruits can be grouped as this particular question or this group of questions. You have to just know it, like examples of fruits that undergoes different kind or that are grouped into various groups. Like you just have to know them by example. So question option A says berry, B says legume, C says capsule, D says drupe. Coconut and oil palm, if you look at them, they are similar. It says that they have very hard endosperm. They are very hard. Like you get palm fruits, you discover that it's very hard. They have to break it. Coconut to the same thing. You cannot just use your hand. Even if you want to, you have to apply pressure to use knife or cutlass in breaking it. And they are drupe. They are classified into a group called drupe. Same with mango. Mango is also in that category. Mango is also, after you take the flesh, the endosperm, when you get like this, you see that it's very hard. So coconut, oil palm, mango all forms under the group called drupe. While berry, the first option, you have tomato, your orange, they fall in the group called berry. The next question is diagrammatic 2, showing the internal structure of a plant, and it is labeled option 1 to 4. The part labeled 1 is called the corolla. The part labeled 2 is the filaments. The part labeled 3 is the style, while the part labeled 4 is the sepal. So, and the question, the ovary is not labeled here. The first question says the ovary represented in this diagram is what? A, half superior, B, inferior, C, superior, D, half inferior. Now, what do we mean by inferior or superior ovary? Let me use English terms so that you won't forget. When they say somebody is feeling inferior, that is, the person is feeling not up to some other people, is feeling lesser than them. Like his feeling is not capable, he cannot meet up to the standard of others. But when they say he's feeling superior, he's feeling that I'm better than all of you. So he's feeling that he's above every other person. So also, that is why we are using the term in this ovary. When an ovary is below the sepal, the petals, and the other structure, when it is below, then we say that ovary is inferior. Then when the ovary is above the petals, the sepals, and all those joint structures, we call it a superior ovary. I know you won't forget by that illustration. When somebody feels inferior, he feels not up to, so he's down. Then when somebody feels superior, the person is feeling I'm more than I'm superior to all of you, I'm above you, I'm better than you. So superior ovary is where you have the ovary above the petals, the sepals. The corolla is above. But when the ovary is inferior, it is below. Now looking at this now, you see that the ovary goes down. The ovary is the part that you have like a tube down. The part that is very dark, that's where the ovary is below the anther, the sepals, the petals, the corolla. So we say this ovary is inferior, option B. The next question says the corolla is partly represented by A says 1, which is corolla, B says 2, which is filament, C says 3, which is star, D says 4, which is sepal. Corolla is partly represented by the part labeled 1. The next question. A dry fruit formed from 2 or more carpels containing several seeds is A follicle, B legume, C capsule, D schizoscarp. Like I said earlier, when you come to this topic, just know it, just put it on your head and just not like cramming, but no, okay, drupe is like this, berry is like this, capsule is like this, follicle is like this, legume is like this, schizoscarp is like this. So you just have to know it. There is no two ways to it. So a dry fruit formed from 2 or more carpels containing several seeds is a capsule, option C. The next question. The outermost embryonic membrane in the mammal is the A amnion, B chorion, C allantois, D yolk sac. Amnion is the innermost membrane in the mammal. That is when you have a pregnant mammal, you have the embryo inside. So the innermost membrane is what you call amnion. So it cannot be A. Then B chorion. Chorion is the outermost embryonic membrane. That's where you have the fluid. That's the outermost membrane. That's our answer. Option C says allantois. Allantois is responsible for respiration, nutrition, and excretion in the young organism. Then D says yolk sac. Yolk sac provides digested food for the embryo. So those are the functions of this organism. So that leads us to the fact that chorion is the outermost embryonic membrane in the mammal. Chorion, that is the outermost. Then the innermost is amnion. The allantois is responsible for respiration, nutrition, and excretion, while yolk sac provides digested food for the embryo. Next question. Bacteria multiply rapidly by means of A budding, B. Fragmentation. C. Binary fission. D. Spore formation. An example of organism that undergoes spore formation is mucor. Bacteria don't produce spore. Then body, fragmentation. Bacteria don't multiply by that method. Bacteria divide into two and start multiplying, and that is binary fission. Option C. Bacteria multiply rapidly by means of binary fission. The next question is diagrammatic, showing the diagram of an egg, and it is labeled 1 to 4. Part labeled 1 is the shell, that's the outermost membrane. The part labeled 2 is the albumen, that's what you call the egg white. When you cook your egg, you see the part that is white, or when you break it, the part that is transparent, that's the albumen. Then the third part is the part called chalaza, like a thread-like suspension, that's the chalaza. Then the part labeled 4 is the germinal disc, that's the one that is internal to the yolk. Now, the question says the part labeled 4 is the A. Yolk, B. hair space, D. Albumen, C. Albumen, D. Germinal disc. The part labeled 4 is the germinal disc. It holds it's the one that is inside the yolk. Then the next question says the structure that holds the yolk in position is labeled A1, that is shell, B2, that is albumen, C3, that is chalaza, D4, that is germinal disc. The chalaza holds the yolk in position. That's the part that is like thread-like structure that is extending to the shell. So that is what is holding the yolk in position. Chalaza. C. Option C. That's the part labeled 3. The next question. The best method of propagating sugarcane is by A. Seed sowing, B. Layering, C. Grafting, D. Stem cutting. Seed sowing is when you take the seed and plant it. I've not seen sugarcane seed before.